2007 was Big Doe Rehab. 2009 he dropped Ghostdini, The Wizard of Poetry. 2010 Apollo Kids. 2013 12 Reasons to Die. 2014 36 Seasons. And then 2015 he dropped 12 Reasons Part 2 and also another album, Sour Soul. And that's not including like Woo Block and like other compilations. So that's about that's about 14 albums of his discography. But so what's your favorite or best album from Ghostface, Armand?
Mine was Iron Man. That was, you got me? Yeah, mine was Iron Man. It was in high school. What year you said that came out in?
That was Iron Man came out in 96. Yo, that's our next topic. 96. That's the next.
96 was a tough year, boy.
That's the next topic.
That's a tough year.
Next
that
podcast.
One of the best.
Yeah.
But we don't want to take away from when we talk about it.
Right.
But Iron Man, I don't know. It was. You know why I remember? You know what's crazy? You know why I really like this album? Because of Capadonna. Win Awards.
Win Awards.
Capadonna killed Win Awards.
Yo, that was on Don't Be a Menace. You remember Don't Be a Menace?
Yeah.
That was when Grandma pulled up with the cat with the old school Chevy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the intro to Win Awards. Remember the intro? You gotta play that.
Yeah.
That's my joint. That's my joint. I love that from the Carson Daly show movie. Yeah. Go ahead, finish. I'm sorry. I'm just hyped. I'm hyped. Go ahead.
You know what's one of my favorite songs, but I don't think it's on Iron Man. I forgot what it was on, but it was the song. He had a young bull on the intro, and the guy was like, "Make me want pop some, no champagne, goose pop, only weed and crack on." You know.
Get up off me. I got that song. I got that song.
Yeah, it was We Made It.
Tony Stark fights again for survival, and by
That
just
was
a thin thread of electric current,
Yeah, that's it.
wins another victory.
Yeah, hip hop.
This is my man. Like, you know, this is my man.
We made it.
Yeah, that's one of my songs. You know, when it came out in 2000, I was in 10th grade, and matter of fact, I was in 9th, 10th grade in Gratz, and I used to play that song. And man, listen, that got me through a lot. And I used to ride the train and just say that to myself, like, yeah, I'm gonna make it. Yeah, we made it. Yeah, we definitely made it. So this was like my theme song to get me through the Y2K. Actually, Ghostface was the bull.
How much to Ghostface, man?
So that Iron Man is your
What
joint?
you think, B?
Yeah. So my favorite album, all praises due to Iron Man. That was crazy. But my favorite album, and I think Ghostface, we can like check this out later. I think he's the only rapper to have a classic album, and his second album be just as good or even better. You know, so I gotta go with Supreme Clientele. You know, when that thing dropped, bro, City on smash. Like Freddie Fox had a rhyme. He said, "I'm about to bring hip hop like Ghost did the Woo." I'm sorry, I'm about to bring hip hop back like Ghost did the Woo. And at that time, like 2000, like the Woo had got kind of cold.
Yeah, they got cold. It went dry dog.
Nobody really was dropping nothing. It was DMX, Jay-Z, Ja Rule.
That was the man tried to come back.
Method John wasn't really like that.
Yeah, it wasn't really like that.
They kind of went through a stage where it was like they was kind of just swinging and missing. But Supreme Clientele, man, from front to back. I mean, Iron Man is definitely is a classic. You know what I mean? And Supreme is a classic. But I give Supreme that little. That's my favorite because it just seemed like he just came. We didn't really expect that.
Yeah.
You know, we all respected Ghost. Ghost was thorough, but Ghost was like, "Yo, I'm back," and I think that's when he really cemented like I'm a legend now. Like I think if like God forbid, say he would have died before Iron Man, I think it would just been like, damn, he was ill, yo. But that was it. I think Supreme Clientele. That's his. You know, that was his stamp. Like, all right, I'm never leaving. Like I'm on Mount Olympus now. You know what I mean? That was his crown jewel. For me, you know what I mean? Because he came out with dope stuff after that. That maybe cats younger than us made a different album, may be their album. You know what I mean? But for me, it's Supreme.
For me, it's Iron Man. I love Supreme Clientele. That's one of my. I mean, that's when I started driving. I got my license. So Supreme Clientele was definitely played in the car, and we made it, and all the rest of them was definitely getting played. And I came up with this. Me and a couple of my friends, we came up with this scenario as far as if we like 4 to 5 songs off an album, it's labeled as classic. And I like 7 songs off of Supreme Clientele, so it's a classic.
Well, Supreme or Iron Man? Which one?
Both. No, but I'm with Iron Man because Iron Man was legit. Daytona 500 was it for me. And
yo, Fish, y'all remember the joint Fish?
Man, Fish,
That's crazy.
I said, yo, why he talking so recklessly about these women and doing this? I was tripping off of Fish.
I think Iron Man got the advantage because of the time it came out.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like it just came in that time where like you had Nas going crazy.
Yeah.
Jay with Jay and Reasonable Doubt. Like that time, like Mob. I think like that time it was something in the air. You know what I mean? And I feel like 2000 was more like he just got some. He was in some chamber.
Yeah.
And he just kind of got revamped. But I think like Iron Man has the advantage because just how, the year it was made.
Let me say this. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. You know, that stuck to me because my mom came from my mom. I could see my mom in that. You know, that's one.
Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. You know what I'm talking about? You know that, John?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Prodigy round over that.
Yeah. What's the other one? Black Jesus. I mean, what's the joint?
The joint him and Mary J?
Yeah, the joint him and Mary J. Plucking roaches out my cereal box. I can relate to that.
Marvel.
So when he came out with this and rapping this stuff and sitting one at the foot, one at the head, my mom, something, John, Peter B.
Y'all about to have me change my joint.
Like that was what I related to. I mean, like I was probably the one pissing in the bed. So I'm like, dang, John, I'm John at the time. So I'm like, dang, man, 'cause I was a dirty young boy. I'm from Charlotte. So, I mean, like I could relate to in the projects and food stamps and being embarrassed by going to the corner store. You know what I'm saying? So when he was he was speaking my soul. He was talking how I felt. And so Iron Man, I could relate to. So Wu-Tang had me on some vibe like self-conscious. I'm trying to big myself up. I'm trying to be enlightened. I'm trying to be a 5%er, trying to learn about the earths and the stars and all that. He was enlightening me, like me and Brandon said earlier. Like that's like one of my dads.
Yo, yeah, definitely, yo. Wait, hold on for that one. Wait for that one. All right, so this is our last question. So when it's all said and done, where do you put the artist? Where do you put Ghostface's legacy? What do you think his legacy is?
Well, in my joint, he like 6. For me, he like 6. He between 6 and 8 for me. I don't know where to put him at the definite, but like 6 and 8. But he's in my top 10.
For me, Ghostface legacy for me, he'll be forever linked with Raekwon.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I think like they'll be like 70 years old, and like a kid might not know who Jizza is, but they know Raekwon and Ghostface supposed to go together.
Yeah,
they go together like peanut butter and jelly, like Styles and Jada. I think his legacy ultimately, would just speak of like a well-rounded artist. Like I'm not gonna put him in a number, but to me he was like the '90s version of Slick Rick because he was like different. He was just storytelling. Like Ghostface was kind of like his stories is wacky. He would say words like that. You didn't like what? Like how could you fit that in a sentence? But at the same time, he had the jewelry, but it was like nobody was messing with him. You know what I mean? Like, kind of like Slick Rick. Like Slick Rick wasn't really a gangster MC, but he had like the playful storytelling. But he wasn't gonna try Slick Rick either. And Ghost resume. You could check the resume. Nobody really tried to check Ghostface besides 50, and then he got up on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think his legacy, man, just a well-rounded MC, and me and Dan was kind of just speaking off the record before the podcast. I personally just feel like I had a advantage, and I feel like Ghostface era was the last era of rap music that you could listen to and literally be raised. Yeah. You know, like I said, like I spoke on the last time, my dad was vacant. You know, my teenage years. So whatever Nas is saying, whatever Ray and Ghost is saying, whatever AZ is saying, that's gospel. Like, that's what I need to do. If y'all say, yo, jump off a cliff, I'm going off that cliff. Like, and thank God, what at the time what I was hearing was stuff that was prevalent. Yeah. Thank God.
They wouldn't tell you jump off a cliff.
They wouldn't tell me jump off a cliff, right?
They're telling you, yo, if you're gonna jump off a cliff, use a parachute, big.
Right.
They wouldn't tell you off a cliff for nothing without a parachute. You know.
That's real.
I put Ghost right up in there. Like, he's one of them. He raised me, yo. Ghostface raised me. Cormega, AZ, they like my uncles on some real stuff. And still to this day, he's still sharp. So yeah, that's his legacy to me.
To me, Ghostface, you know, he was like, he like when I went, we had a group, man. Like, I had a Wu-Tang bat. You understand? My cousins look at me as, yo, this guy was a Wu-Tang member. I had Wu-Tang gear. I had the fleece, the Wu wear. You know, so I was rocking the Wallabies, and I had my pants up like Method Man, one pants leg up like Method, my sweatpants. I had the Wu Skelly on. You know, back in the 7th and 8th grade, it was Bad Boys versus Wu-Tang. We was 3 or 4 deep, they was 6 deep. Bad Boys Forever, we like Wu-Tang forever. So I had the Wu signs, I was from the Wu signs. I was a Wu fanatic, you know. And I'm
like a pointy ring.
You know, Brooklyn with the pointy rings. I even made those out of paper in class. So yeah, so I was extremely Wu. Yeah, Bobby Digital. so I was really.
I wasn't totally Bobby Digital, man. That's when I felt. I was like, well, Bobby, I don't know what Bobby.
Yeah, I don't know what Bobby on. That's when I stopped leaving Wu alone when Bobby Digital came out. B.I.G. I'm like, hold on, dog. Come on.
What's
too
going
much.
on?
D.I.
I'm gonna open my head.
But
now I get it.
But yeah, now I get it. Now that I'm older, education, reading more books, I understand what these guys was dropping. The Jews that was dropping, yes, indeed, the Wu book. So, but Ghostface, his legacy to me, like he's definitely top 50, top 25 in hip hop. And to me, he's my top. He reached top 15. I can't give him top 10, but I'm gonna be definitely honest with him and give him top 15, even top 20. And you know, and the way him and Raekwon, they be smashing stuff. They don't be killing stuff. They be smashing it, like devouring it. You know. So Ghostface, I listened to his latest album. He's a storyteller, yo. This guy is like the real deal. Absolutely. You know, he's telling stories, and he got me listening to him like that, yo. This guy talking. His whole album is a story. His latest album is a story. It's not just rapping and
12 Reasons joint, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
He's still putting out creative stuff.
And you know, and he ain't just sitting going in the studio rapping. I'm gonna rap this 16 and I'm just make this money. He going in the studio and actually thinking about it. He's thinking about what he's saying and putting it in order. Like, I put my track with this track, so this story go together.
It's in sequence.
Yes, it's down to the T with him. So I gotta give him the top 20 in hip hop and the top 5 in creativity. You know, his vocabulary is ill, and I'm using the word ill because if you part of hip hop and you're an 80s baby, you know what ill means. That means it's nasty. So his vocabulary is like, you can't find what he's saying in the dictionary. Because what he's saying is...
Yeah, they created words.
Yeah,
definitely created words.
And guess what? It wasn't even created words. It was his area in where he was from. Those are words that they use. So he's spitting this stuff that... What you talking about? Huh? Right. So if you ain't inclined to the New York slang, editorial, explicit material, if you don't have experience in this, then you can't understand what he's saying. So he's definitely rapping over here, like we said again. So this guy, he's top 5 in creativity. I gotta give him top 5.
Hey, and that concludes tonight's discussion, man. We'll give y'all a little preview